Welcome back. Now joining us this evening is Albert Nicanor, who is the CEO of the Namibian Society of Composers and Authors of Music, also known as NASCAM. A devoted champion for the rights of musicians and creatives across Namibia, his insights come at a pivotal moment in our nation's history as Nandi-Ndaitwah prepares to make history as Namibia's first female president in 2025. There's an exciting buzz about how her leadership could shape various sectors, including the music and, of course, creative industries. Mr. Nicanor, it's a pleasure to have you with us this evening. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Nina, and welcome to your listeners as well.
Just to kick things off, as Namibia enters, into this new chapter, how do you envision the incoming administration under Nandi-Ndaitwah shaping the music and creative industries?
Yeah, I think firstly, I don't want to take the role of analyst, but I project that she will probably want to bring prominence of the creative sector to the fore like never before, because I think during her campaigns and she had engagements with a lot of stakeholders involved in the creative sector, and she undertake to bring the sector, to give it its status in the society. As you know, the sector is either not visible enough and not making any impact in terms of contributing to jobs or even to income. So I think I expect her to bring prominence to the sector and visibility, and also maybe to bring investment to the sector to drive the economy much further, because it consists of a lot of youth and mainly who are trying to create music, and not just music but also other categories in the creative sector.
Of what you've just mentioned, is that the total of the challenges that musicians and composers in Namibia face?
I think during my engagements and also more recently with the cabinet, I think it's National Assembly Committee, the engagement they had with the creators was that the sector is facing a lot of challenges in terms of infrastructure and also training. It lacks funding mainly, because most of the creators, their complaint is really that there's no opportunities on how to get into the sector and to grow and to create the necessary employment in the various value chains of the sector. Because, there is a lot of potential in terms of jobs creation and also to generate income, but that potential is never explored. So it needs government's intervention, just like any other specific intervention government can bring to any economic sector, like SMEs or whatever, So it needs a targeted intervention to help the industry to grow and to be able to generate the GDP to the economy.
On that note, what specific policies or legislative actions do you believe the new leadership could prioritize then?
Yeah, from the top of my head, I think the copyright bill and copyright and related bills is one of the key legislatures that is pending, to be enacted. I think she will want to play a pivotal role, and I think this will enhance her credibility also to the sector, that she can do what she has promised, you understand? And I think during engagements she also undertook, and I believe her, she wants to drive this sector to new heights, and this bill is very key to the creators because it incorporates other creators that needs to come on board. And without this piece of legislation, they are out, excluded from the sector. So it's important, if she wants to make sure that she gets the credibility she deserves in terms of bringing this sector and also implementing what she has promised during the manifesto, during the campaign. And this will help the industry, very much, because this piece of legislation, I think since 2021, it has not been enacted. So imagine all those years post-COVID, and now we are sitting here in 2024 without that piece of legislation.
In 2025, in fact.
Yes, we are already in 2025.
You mentioned, of course, that this industry holds great potential to contribute to the economy of the country, and I think globally that's the standard in other countries, where you'll see music and creative industries really contributing to, their country's economy. So how can Namibia better leverage, this potential?
Just to speak, recently I was in Harare at a conference where we also shared some information on the potential of the creative sector. WIPO, the organization responsible for IP, organized this seminar, and the data they provided has really can be very impactful if the governments can take on, the creative sector and push it to excel. We have this tendency in Namibia because of maybe not having creators in the government itself, to help the policymakers understand the importance of these creators. I think that is where we are, because they don't really bring the credence of this sector to the fore because of the lack of players in the policy making. So it's important, the data. One of the things we don't have in Namibia is the data to be able to help the policymakers make decisions based on data. Yes. It is very critical. And one of the aspects, I think, that was discussed is to bring in institutions that can help develop or generate data for the policymakers, so that whatever they do, whatever they discuss in Parliament or decisions they need to make, it must be data-driven. Yeah. And to help them understand better, because only the data can speak volumes in this case.
Lastly, Mr. Nicanor, what are your hopes for the future of, the music industry under this new leadership?
I think for me it is really more important that the creators get their chance to partake in the economy. It has been long, 34 years, and we are still nowhere with this sector. I think my aspirations or my desire is really to see this sector get its place in the society and the investments it needs, and to push to such an extent that it creates the jobs, because there is potential job creation, and I can only dream about to see them, this government of Mrs. Nandi-Ndaitwah bringing forward, because she's a trailblazer, first president, a woman president, and probably she can also bring in, these aspirations in the hopes in the nation to say she's the first lady who brought the creative sector to prominence in Namibia.
Well, we appreciate your insights, and thank you so much for joining us this evening.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
On that note, we've come to the end of this evening's program. Of course, we're back next week, Monday.